Why, hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Laura Geringer, and I'm part of a troupe of adventurers leading a new ShapingEDU initiative called the Serious Play Studio. Joining me is intrepid explorer Maddie Shelgren from the Online Learning Consortium, wrangler of the unexpected Ruben Puentedura, and adventure artist Karina Branson. And we'll tell you a little bit more about what we have cooking later on. But first, as a means of kicking off the Pente Challenge, we're going to spend some time together in this session with a gameful introduction to collaboration and pitch development. So a little behind the scenes preview, we will spend some time at the end of this session reflecting and debriefing the experience. This is a no stakes game, but it has the possibility to surface real insights into how you and your team work or want to work together. I encourage you to enter this game with curiosity, knowing that it may be messy or frustrating or fantastic, and this is by design. So get ready, because we're going to dive right in.
All right, folks, and my name is Maddie Shelgren. I am one of those adventurers that Laura just mentioned. We are going to dive right in, as she said, so let's go ahead and get started. So what are we going to be doing? First and foremost, we're going to kick things off with a 5-minute yes and pitch game. So what does this mean? You will work via breakout rooms in your Pente challenge groups. And yes, you will only have 5 minutes to develop your pitch for this game. So here are the rules and a little bit of what you need to know how to play. So when we say go, first and foremost, not yet, but after we work through some instructions, you will actually be entering into your breakout rooms. We did talk about how that we're going to do that yes and game. So we're going to provide you a little bit of context as to what the next little bit will be like for each and every one of you. So first and foremost, what will we be doing? So in your teams, you will need to design a new product. So what does this mean? Your product should help to better our user experience with the mundane and will exist as a physical object in a world like today's, where the key local and global components govern production and distribution. And yet these components can be fragile. So what do we mean by mundane? What do we mean by mundane? Well, this is that a lot of things. This could be otherwise something that's labeled as unexciting in our days and our lives. So here are some examples, right? This might mean flipping an egg, driving a car, eating a sandwich, and so forth. Your product should nevertheless make your experiences with these types of otherwise mundane things that much better. So one important rule, of course, and we must convey this, is you can't use one of the examples that we just referenced. So come up with something else and you take inspiration from anything. For instance, I just turned off a little space heater next to my desk. That could be mundane. You can't use that example either. So it can be anything and everything. Inspiration is all around you. We're going to encourage you to use the things in your life or perhaps around you right now as inspiration. So as such, within your groups, you should first very quickly identify something mundane that you want to ideate around and that you want to improve upon, taking care, of course, to not run in with one of the examples that I just mentioned. So now on to our second rule. As you brainstorm your new product, you must operate under yes and rules. So this means that whatever is said must be incorporated into your design. So what does this look like? Well, we're going to try it out right here. And I'm going to prep Laura. Laura, what do you think we should have for supper today?
You know, I'm all about breakfast for dinner. And so I think we should have waffles with chocolate sauce.
What do you think, Karina?
Yes, and I also have been really into dark leafy greens, so I think we should have some kale too.
Ruben?
Yes, and I think this is all great, but I also think we need a little bit of protein. So how about some edamame, and then people can make them either sweet or savory as they choose. So, Maddie, what do you think?
I'm feeling like perhaps we need some roasted chickpeas as an additional source of protein, plus a nice little crunch.
Yes, and we should probably have tea and coffee to drink with it.
All right. So what does this mean, right? If I were to pitch what we're going to have for supper tonight, which is in my vocabulary dinner, we are going to have both waffles with chocolate sauce, kale. We're going to have some edamame, which might be sweet, might also be savory. We're also going to have some roasted chickpeas. And of course, we're going to top off with a nice beverage choice of coffee and tea. And that is going to be our supper, all of those things. So hopefully you all get the idea, right? This is a yes and as folks contribute, we are adding on to the thing that we are designing. All right, so one of the things with a yes and that we want to make sure that is everyone has a good sense of is that we're not trying to play a game of gotcha, right? Of putting our colleagues in a spot where they feel like they can't contribute something new as that next person adds on to whatever it is that we're designing. So instead, we're actually going to be setting you all up for success, not trying to win, right, as an individual in this particular activity. So yes, and also as a result requires that we're all listening to one another so that our suggestions could actually be additive. And you might have seen me very impromptu. I was taking notes and I was set up by the person to pitch. So I needed to make sure I was listening to everyone in the group. And you could see that we were all listening on to each other about other ways, other variables, other ways in which we can actually make this supper or this meal perhaps fill in some gaps that we might have identified along the way. So with this approach in mind, in the 5 minutes that you all have in your breakout rooms, you should ideate around some 6 criteria that we have come up with to support you in relation to the mundane experiences you identified as a group and the resulting product your group is creating to improve that mundane experience. So know that you will present whatever is ready after these 5 minutes. So if you don't get through all 6 criteria, no worries. Be sure you nevertheless choose a spokesperson so you're ready to present. So here are these 6 criteria, and you will have access to this. So no worries, you don't have to memorize this. But you're going to have to talk around the name of the product description. Why is your product needed? Who's your product for? What is the sales or promotions plan? So how do you actually imagine getting this out into the world? And of course, a slogan or a jingle for your product. Following these 5 minutes, you will then return to this main room, and each group will have 1 minute to pitch your new product to the large group. So in your pitch presentation, you must highlight each of the 6 required criteria or whatever you all got around to ideating around. And then how you present beyond that, apart from that spokesperson, is completely up to you. Just know that you make sure you really identify that spokesperson so you're not caught off guard around who's taking the mic when we come back to the large room. One important note is that you will not have slides for your presentation. So we'll be in that gallery view and be looking at each other for that moment as well. No one will be sharing screen. We have created a Google slide template that is just about to be dropped into the chat for you all as a note-taking space regardless, in addition to some reminders about the criteria and the instructions. If you forget what that prompt is, no worries, it's also in that deck on slide 2. So a few things, just a reminder about breakout rooms. Lara, did you want to go through this slide really quickly?
Sure. So in just a moment, we're going to open these breakout rooms, and it's a choose your own adventure situation. That is to say, you'll be putting yourself into a breakout room. So there are 5 breakout rooms. They'll be labeled room 1 through room 5. Choose the one that corresponds to your Pente team. So each of the teams has a team name and a team number. You should have been getting emails with that. If you're confused, if you don't remember which you signed up for, if you were interested in many and don't remember which one you actually ended up in, put it in the chat. We've got all the rosters to help out. And Maddie, if you just hop to the next slide, we've got a list, I believe, of all of the teams. There we go. So for instance, if you're in the immersive learning team, you'll look for room number 3. So that'll happen in just a minute when we open the breakout rooms. I think there's a couple more reminders. Yeah.
Yep. So as an additional reminder and heads up, you will have facilitation support tactics throughout. So we'll be using the broadcast function to give you all reminders of time along the way. Specifically with 1 minute to go, we will move to close the breakout room. Just remember that you can stay in there, and we encourage you all to in fact use that last minute because you will need it. 5 minutes is not a long time. In addition to that, do know that those 6 criteria are just part of the plan. So remember that don't stress out about meeting all of those, have some fun, but you might find you get to all of them. And when we do open these breakout rooms, an additional moment, here's that reference point again. As Lara said, let us know if you have any help or if you need any help in finding those rooms. But otherwise, we are about to get ready. The chat will be there for each of your groups as well. But I hope you all are ready. So we are going to go. I'm going to stop screen sharing here as we shift into those rooms. But we hope you all are going to be ready for some fun and very, very quick round of pitch design because we are diving down into the murky, uncharted depths of yes and designing. So here we go in 3, 2, 1.
Okay, you should be able to click at the bottom into the breakout rooms. If you're having trouble finding your room or don't know which room you're in or are having issues with Zoom, just let us know.
I hope that wasn't disruptive. Got moved into that room accidentally, I think.
Yeah, likewise. Cool. I've got a timer going. We've got 3 minutes left already. We could give them an extra 30 seconds just since we had a bit of transition time, if that works. 30 seconds, an extra minute. I see Maddie
I was thinking
nodding.
the same thing. Yep.
Sweet. Okay.
Yes, welcome, welcome. And wow, wasn't that a sprint? We told you 5 minutes would go by quickly and that you would need absolutely every second of it. And so nevertheless, though, we are really excited to see what you are able to come up with under such a short period of time. And particularly to see how you actually address those creative products and the design prompt we had for you all. So as a reminder, each group will only have 1 minute to take the stage and share whatever they were able to come up with within that 1 minute. And talk around those 6 criteria to the best of your abilities, specifically with what you came to. As a reminder, we will not be doing screen sharing for this particular portion of it. So we'll just be in the large room. And instead, we've got the screen sharing to show some of the live sketching that will be happening as you all give your pitches. Nevertheless, we're going to go ahead and dive back in. We'll drop the 6 criteria in the chat just as a reminder for you about what those were, as whoever does take that stage and is the spokesperson for your particular group has those as a reference point. So we're going to go ahead and start with team 1. So that's the Are We There Yet? Capturing and the evolving now in learning. So team 1, you're going to take the stage and hopefully you had a little bit of time to designate your spokesperson. And if not, someone hop on stage and impromptu in the spirit of improv. Go ahead and take the mic.
Paul is on standby on our behalf.
Oh, did you see Paul's unable to mute?
Yeah, I couldn't either, but
You
I
cannot keep me silent. I will overcome. Thank you. I was frantically trying to do my notes here and could not unmute myself. So group 1 is proposing the wireless solar powered coffee radio Toast-O-Matic. This is for families and others camping in Class A vehicles. It's a family excursion product. It's for anybody that wants to do that. The sales and promotion pitches will help you get toasted. In terms of product jingles, that we're going to help you get toasted, and we are hoping that we will market this through Instagram heavily, of course, through social media and anywhere else that we can find people who are camping out in need of toast and coffee and radio all at the same time. So there you are. It's available for a price yet to be determined. We are taking orders now on the Team 1 marketing page.
All right, I love it. All right, so we have a couple things. Please feel free to leverage the Zoom reactions to give team 1 a huge round of applause, or give them shout outs in the chat here for some of the favorite things. I particularly will say I love the slogan. Let's all get toasted. There's some comedy behind that one. So go ahead. We're going to shift to team 2. So that's emerging credential standards.
Kelly, are you going to speak for
I
us?
guess so. So we
You got
also
it.
have, so we are the CoffeeTea Saurus 3.0. And we also are at like an all-inclusive coffee solution. You can basically, it's like detects your vibe when you wake up, and if you are not in the mood to be sending messages, it will detect that and prevent you from sending messages. Can also send you an extra shot of coffee via advanced technology. It can warm it up. It can tell you the news. There's an augmented reality component that can also project the news for you, gives you an alarm. We need dinosaur shapes because of our kids. We've decided this. It can also turn into a school bus and actually just take your kids to school for you. You are not caffeinated enough to send that message alarm. Our assistant robot is non-binary on this. Everyone needs this product. It is for everyone. It's coffee tea. So if you're not coffee, then you can have tea. And our product slogan, you just sing that and it makes you happy and you have it. So did I miss anything, team 2?
No, and in fact, you are just at the minute. So even if you did miss something, the minute is over and we will dramatically shift to team 3, which is immersive learning. As we do, huge shout outs to team 2 in the chat. We're using those Zoom reactions, please. So team 3, immersive learning.
All right, I'm going to jump in then. We are having here the immersive, adaptable container energy for the modern world water bottle. A water bottle that first sanitizes itself, can take on any liquid, water, orange juice, and even soup. Any energy you need throughout the day. It adjusts its temperature. It broadcasts your moods of the day so that others who are walking by know how you feel, whether they should approach you or not. It has personal messages to cheer you up or remind you to call that special someone. It's a wonderful bottle. It flattens itself. It changes its shapes. It can go in a small purse or in a backpack. It's round and it's really the Pente magical water bottle for all of us. And that's our product.
All right, cheers all around. I'm sensing a theme here across the 3 groups. Let's see as we shift and give shout outs in the chat or those Zoom reactions to team 4. If we're still in the beverage category, I'm very curious now. So team 4, data-driven learning futures. Over to you all.
Hi, this is Tanya. We didn't get through everything, but I'll go ahead and pitch. The other funny thing is we never decided who was going to do the pitch, although that was the first thing we were going to figure out. And so I'll just go ahead and make this happen for our team. I'll take one for the team. The name of our product is AINS, not AIMS. It's AINS, and this stands for Artificial Intelligence Notifications. What this product will do is it's an artificial intelligence driven notification system that uses data based on user settings in other platforms, such as Microsoft Office, Windows, Google, and Apple products in order to inform notifications in each ed technology platform. So why our product? Although notifications seem like the mundane, click, get a notification, click here, get a notification, get it on your phone, get it on your laptop, get it daily, get it weekly. But what we do know is that this is most problematic for students, and it also impacts their learning. So students don't tend to get them when they need them, even though they're important. And students often ignore them because they're coming at inconvenient times or on inconvenient devices. So because this is such a key to student learning, it's important that we improve the user experience for students, including setting up those notifications. And who are these students? This isn't just limited to post-secondary education students. This is all students K through 20, any students that are interacting with any educational technology platform. All right, our sales, promo, and pitch. and slogan. We're going to tie these together here. So why waste time trying to figure out your notifications when with one click, you can bring in your user data from other technology platforms to inform your notification experience in any education technology related to your learning inside or outside the institution. Our theme song is Tony Braxton's Let Me Know. And how would we promote this? This would be promotion to vendors. We would meet one-on-one through our own, leveraging our own networks to meet with LMS and other ed tech vendors in order to incorporate our AI technology data aggregation plans in order to improve student learning. Separately, we would have a promotion plans in order to get students to buy in to share their data from different platforms in order to improve their user experience and using educational technology. Was I under 5 minutes?
You were under 5, certainly over 1, but you know, I am.
Oh, it was 1 minute. In my head, I was
You know
thinking
what?
5 minutes.
No worries.
Oh, sorry, folks.
This is a playful space, and you know what? I make the rules right now. So with that, we're going to sit on that, reflect on that, hold that in our pockets as we move into a reflection post game in a little bit. But awesome. So let's give a round of applause to that detailed pitch. I'm loving it. We did move away from the beverage category. Now we have one team left to hear from today. That's Team 5, Digital Belonging. So will they go beverage? Will they go AI? Here, we're going to find out right now. Team 5. And
we didn't decide who was going to go.
You could go, Marilyn.
I could give it a shot. Well, you know what? You asked for AI, you asked for beverage, we got both. It's always a struggle to know where to throw your recycling, right? So you have a phone app, you have some artificial intelligence and image recognition, you point it at your thing, whether it is a pad of paper or a bottle, and then it tells you, is it clean or dirty? It asks you maybe a question. And then to make it better, the receptacles will all have a QR code, because sometimes you have 2 choices, 1 choice, 3 choices, and it would tell you which of the barrels to throw it in. What were some of the other questions? It's just an app. It will be free, paid for by the world government. And we don't really have a song yet, but I was kind of thinking, I can't think of a song, no song yet. Our promotional plan would be to contact all, it would be mandatory for all products that are recyclable or even not recyclable to have a mechanism for being recognized by this device.
I love it. And we are with that just over a minute, about a minute and a half. And so if you haven't checked it out, we do have Brant who shared in the chat as well. Some additional details on the recyclotomaton, which I love it. Very hard to say, but I'm digging the product. So all around, let's do one final round of applause for the group. We're going to take a deep breath. Whew, the session is not yet done. But wait, what's this, folks? An updated broadcast, perhaps from our producers?
And so a flapping of wings enters the scene. At this point, suddenly, something happens. And what is it that happens? Well, our story takes place in a time when there are more options to create collaboratively using technology than ever before. We have 3D printers, we have LiDAR scanners, we have AR and VR tools for design and visualization. They're all readily available and accessible to a wide audience. But at the same time, it's a time with new challenges, with not infrequent disruptions of communications and uneven availability of the infrastructure needed to make use of the new tools. So out of the blue, accompanied by the flapping of wings, an unexpected blanket of staticky silence descends upon your world. An EMP, an electromagnetic pulse event, has damaged or destroyed much of the infrastructure you've come to depend upon. Now, fingers are pointed at multiple culprits, from overeager government agencies to rogue hackers to hostile foreign powers, but at least, listen, everyone is glad that the event was not accompanied by a mushroom cloud. That said, though, your project will have to rely upon its anti-fragility. How will your team continue to create in this world where much of what you can do or plan has to fit on a patched together mobile screen? And how will what you've made continue to be relevant and useful as your community fixes itself? Indeed, how will it contribute to that healing? So now, this is the challenge for you. We ask you to reconvene once again within your design groups to modify the product you made and adjust it to address this unexpected Black Swan challenge. You'll have 5 more minutes in your breakout rooms to add onto your design. Importantly, you have to keep the yes and approach, and your redesign must be additive. You have to continue adding to your design. Within your teams, discuss how this new challenge impacts your design and strategize how to tell the story of what your design needs to become. Following these 5 minutes, we'll return to the main room for a second round of 1-minute presentations, this time about your product as it relates to this new world and new future. So how will you respond to this unexpected turn of events? Remember, you'll need to pitch your product again when you return, taking into account these new developments. Find out with your group members in 3, 2, 1.
All right, and just as before, folks, if anyone needs any support in getting to their breakout rooms, just let us know. Same rooms though as before.
Okay, so at 49 after the hour, we'll all reconvene.
I think it was you, Stephanie, that had said, or Steph rather, close now. And so everyone will be coming back in.
All right. So welcome back, everybody. Thank you all for your additional design work during this phase, now that you're responding to the electromagnetic pulse. But now let's all hear how each group has decided to add to their product design to meet the needs of this new future. Again, Laura has put the 6 criteria in the chat. If you need a quick reminder, let's take it in order by teams. Team number 1, are we there yet? Capturing the evolving new now and learning. Take it away.
Our new evolving face and learning, Mr. Black Swan, was a glimmering gold swan because we are solar powered with our coffee Toast-O-Matic radio, whatever the heck we're selling here. We don't really need to modify it. As one of our members pointed out, in our solar powered Class A vehicle, we already have our own generators. If there's any downtime between the cups of coffee being connected globally, we can actually just wire the coffee cups together and use that. We also decided we were going to add in as extra benefits here, since we had the time, battery rechargeable things so that we could recharge from the solar power to the battery. And that is included, by the way. Anybody that buys this will get a battery included with it. And we're thinking of a whole line of accessories, kind of like Barbie dolls. You know, we'll have things that go with our coffee cups, things that go with our Toast-O-Matic, different kinds of toast. And that, folks, is where we are. So keep those orders coming. We were, by the way, surprised and pleasantly encouraged to see that a similar product is out there, and we're just taking it further and further as we go. Done.
Beautiful. Right on the 1-minute mark. Thank you, Paul. And I'm very impressed. And indeed, solar is where it's at, right? So excellent. Let's go on to team number 2, the emerging credential standards. As we go through, please remember, folks, use the reactions buttons to give your reactions to the teams. So team number 2, you have the floor.
So the Coffee Thesaurus 3.1, unable to anticipate the extent of the EMP damages, is ready for survival. So you'll notice that the spine on the Coffee Thesaurus actually opens up and it makes a saw. The front is loaded with lead, can be used as a bludgeon to keep people away from your coffee. We also have modules that you can insert, including screwdriver, hammer, kazoo to play your After the World Apocalypse jingle, And if it's not too bad, then you can also plug in some new tools as they come back online, like recorders and other electronics. But we're kind of expecting the worst. So we'll have coffee. We'll have a way to defend it. We'll be okay. That's our motto.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. First time I've ever seen a kazoo plus coffee combination. I definitely think you need to quickly rush to the copyright office and patent and take out register both the name of the kazoo plus coffee combos plus any websites in that regard. So make sure you buy the domains. And with that, we will go on to team number 3, immersive learning.
All right. So what is essential? And what we're thinking, of course, is that our water bottle works with renewable energy, not just solar. Solar is just the beginning, but you can shake it, twist it, and charge it this way. So you can do physical activity with it and make the bottle go and fulfill your needs. In addition to that, the water bottle, because we know the sources of water and how to get to it may be down, will absorb moisture from our surroundings and turn it into water. So you can actually not only have the bottle, but the bottle itself can replenish itself. We also played with the idea that we can put on some stickers, played with the old-fashioned mood rings, and continue to be able to use that feature on the bottle of being able to share your moods. In addition to that, we thought that could also be able to be used in a way to signal what you need, trade it for something else. Whether it's in, nourishment or other things that will be hard to find in this, what we see, this disaster that spread on us. So finally, we want to also be able to use our bottle and know on actually on our space and time and our own state of mind. And so we'd like to actually add a feature which will tell us what additional ingredients we need to take in that we haven't been taking in through our liquids in order to stay healthy and safe and survive whatever this world sends our way, throws at us.
Wonderful, thank you. A little bit longer than a minute, but like Maddie, I also decide to be, generous in the spirit of play for the morning. So very, I like how different people are exploring different ideas of how the object helps you, not just the object survives, but helps you make it, better or healthier or whatever it is to the next day. So thank you very much. All right, so next group, number 4, data-driven learning futures, please.
Okay, our artificial intelligence notification system still needs to work because people need these notifications. So we've decided to have devices built into cases. Students will have their case with their work and all of their data in them. For important messages, our bike messengers will go quickly, and when they're in the vicinity, the message will go just like an RFID. Instead of pulling, it'll be sending. Physical messages will be directed to students' desks or cases, and it's kind of back to what people used to do. People with briefcases will carry all of their data. It limits notifications to super personalized with stickers and handwriting, so they really enjoy receiving their messages. They can save their archived board of notifications and post them later on Facebook when Facebook reappears. And also, their social media will be personalized with a clapboard or something so that you can see them and say, oh, that's somebody I need to drive past on my bike to get them the message. Kind of like that commercial with the grandma putting pictures on the wall, and that's her Facebook. Everybody will have their own social media. So.
Wonderful. Thank you. So again, very nice. I like how you're rethinking the context for how this plays out when you don't have all the networks up and running. So finally, let's hear from team number 5, digital belonging.
Okay, digital belonging. What do you do when an EMP takes out all things that have electronic chips and circuits, thus rendering your application somewhat useless, well, then you go to low-tech or no-tech approaches. What could we do? Well, we'll have extensive materials that will be around guiding individuals in not just saying this goes to trash or to compost or to recycle, but looking at possibly how to deconstruct an item, because again, Amazon's not showing up. You may not be getting delivery of objects coming to your home as much. So you might look at an item and say, what do I do with this? How could I do that? How could I pull additional value out of that or additional uses from that? And so these materials would walk you through that, plus elicit greater sharing of those resources with others for possible energy use, for rebuilding the world back, to look at additional tool sets that come from that. So again, it's a community-based awareness program, unribboned.
Wonderful. I love it. You know, recycle meets right to repair. I like it very much. Very, very nice. So first, again, if I can get a round of applause for everybody, really great work on, you know, extending your original product, thinking how it responds to this Black Swan world. So this is absolutely wonderful. Thank you all again for playing. But now I want to turn it over to Maddie for a final debrief stage.
All right. Oh, yes, absolutely. Huge round of applause across the board. That was awesome. The products were fun. Some darker than others, but nevertheless, it was really awesome to see how you all shifted. So we do have a little bit of time left in the session here today. And so for those watching the recording back, for those that are able to stay with us, regardless, we're going to actually shift this to a debrief. So there's a lot that we could reflect on, and we're going to provide a little bit more insight into some of the things that we are hoping you all take away, particularly as you shift into your actual Pente challenges beyond this fun, playful, clearly low stakes game that we kicked off the event with you all here today and doing. So during this session, there are a few things that we want to highlight for the debrief in particular. You'll see us centering around some of the aspects of group work. So lots to take away, but nevertheless, let's go ahead and dive into some of the things that we might have learned, some of the things that we might have observed. So I'm going to start things off and then tag in some of my additional colleagues here to contribute to this debrief. The way we've situated it today is us sort of talking around some of the things that we're hoping you take away. We've nevertheless provided some reflective questions for you all to walk away with and encourage you to think within your groups about these questions and also some of the things that we're about to share with you. So let's go ahead and dive in. So we are not going to call on you, each and every one of you during this reflection, and that is a strategy. We're not going to ask you to share your reflections here. Instead, we'd like to actually talk through some of the things, as I've said, that you may have encountered. You may feel and be thinking, as well as offer you a reflective questions that you will take with you through the rest of the Pente Challenge. This game perhaps awakened your competitive spirit. Perhaps you found it frustrating, the openness of the prompt, or even the restrictiveness of the rules, the time constraints, or the way different people approached it. One question to think around is, what exactly was frustrating? What does this point to, you think, for yourself and also perhaps for your group members? Think about what this reveals about you, how you work with others, and what it might reveal about your team. What does this frustration, if you felt frustration, suggest for your next team collaboration? You have agency in shaping both the experience of working together and what collectively you design. So how do you want to exercise that agency? When will you step back? When will you step forward and up? What about the team dynamic? What does that look like? What did it look like already? This is a low stakes effort, right? But what might we learn from it in terms of how we actually all achieved group membership and a collective sense of teamwork today? Was it good? Was it bad? Importantly, what was your part in creating or dismantling that team dynamic? Did you notice anything about how you engaged and interacted within the group? For instance, you might have noticed that you naturally or responsively took up a specific role. To what extent did you prioritize the team aspect of collaboration? Did you prioritize your fellow humans? How might you organize project work differently or redesign leadership roles based on your reflection? Reflecting generally about how you all work together as a team as well. What might you take or leave as you move into the real pitches? So beyond this game, right? These yes and pitches, of course, we're not designing AI, we're not designing recycling machines, right? We're designing something else, right? So what can we take forward into those pitches nevertheless to make sure that that process, that progress is that much better? How can you leverage this moment, this game, right, and your reflection here as an important check-in point to ensure you all collaborate successfully during the rest of the Pente Challenge? I'm going to shift over to Lara here to continue our debrief.
For many of you, this exercise might have been fun. We encourage you to explore this aspect of play during the Pente Challenge. So find a space for playfulness or silliness or lightheartedness in how you work together and leverage that for effective collaboration. Reflect on which aspects of this experience you could take into your group's design challenge and how you can bring the joy or the playfulness or the fun into the design process. And how can you bring others along with you in this? So as a reminder, your real pitches may or may not be fully developed, and that's great. Just share confidently what you have. Think about what you might take or leave as you move into the real pitches. Was your original design anti-fragile? That is, was it readily changed or improved to reflect a changing world? Or did you have to scramble and patch it up? What, without foreknowledge of a specific Black Swan event, might this help you think about as you build your design? So this is an opportunity to reflect and to set you up for success as you move into your pitch teams. Over to Ruben for a few more thoughts.
Yeah, well, that's a lot to think about. But in summary, we encourage you to think about what this activity tells you about how you want it to be working with your teams. You have influence to create this during the Pente Challenge. How do you center not just the what of your work, but also the how of being a team? Think about that. Now, sadly, our time this morning has come to an end. We hope that all of you had fun, and we really want to see how your actual pitches go. Although, man, I really want several of the products you presented this morning now. I think about it, I really need to go get a cup of coffee. But a major goal of this session was to help you embrace play and reflect on how you collaborate. And before we go, one last thing. We do want to briefly share a bit about the fun, yes, pun intended, new initiative. One that in part explains why the four of us have come together as facilitators for this session. So Laura, back to you.
So with today's game, we're kicking off ShapingEDU's new Serious Play Studio, SPS for short. It's a virtual learning hub, a studio focused on energizing and empowering teams in and through play, fun, games, creative making, and collaborative experiences. So we're working on two main programs, the Black Swan Thinking and Anti-Fragile program with Ruben will drive the application of Black Swan and anti-fragile thinking in practice to cultivate positive learning futures and social outcomes. Hope you'll join us for that. And our interactive game and learning adventure program with Maddie and the Online Learning Consortium will energize and empower lifelong learners and organizations with experiences, resources to leverage interactive games and creative play for innovation and community building. So with both of these programs, we'll offer ShapingEDU specific activities like this one and custom services for organizations and companies looking to energize their change-making efforts. So I hope you'll join us in the studio in the coming months and years. We will be sending out more information again in the coming months. And with that, we will leave you and good luck designing your projects. And we will see you for a brief second activity from the Serious Play Studio tomorrow.